Convene the two regular meeting of the Board of Education at 7:03 PM with Blair, Cruz, Na, Orozco, and Fikes present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices and note that these proceedings are being recorded. Stephanie.
The board met in closed session from 4:45 p.m. to 6:57 p.m. regarding conference with legal counsel, existing and anticipated litigation, student discipline, conference with labor negotiators, ACT and CSCA, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, public employee appointment, coordinator behavior intervention, and conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representatives Sylvia Orozco and James Na, unrepresented employee, new superintendent Dr. Norm Enfield. The board took no action.
Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight are Dixon Elementary School students Natalie Garcia and Faith Wynn.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now at Student Showcase. As we can all appreciate, we're extremely fortunate to be part of a school district that supports the arts. Tonight, Dixon Elementary School music teacher Nancy Rich is leading her students in a musical performance. Mrs. Rich. And of course, parents, you're free to go. Thank you. Could you ring your bell? Just make sure I've got you. Oh, James got it. Okay, it's correct.
We're all right now?
Now you put yours on, Irene. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Chino Kiwanis will be coming to our next meeting. So we're now at comments from our student representative. Jonah?
No comments tonight.
Okay. Are there any high school seniors in the audience who are going to be participating in the upcoming 38th Annual Student Government Day on February 15th? Hi. We'd like you to come on up to the podium and introduce yourselves. At the Student Government Day, our students will shadow district officials and engage in a mock Board of Education meeting, and students will also have the opportunity to be involved in activities and mock meetings with officials at the City of Chino and Chino Hills. So tell us your name and your school.
Okay, good morning. Oh, not good morning, good evening. I'm like my circadian clock's off. My name's Amy Root, and I'm from Ruben SIL High School.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Anthony Duarte, and I'm from Chino High School.
Hi, I'm Melissa Hogan, and I'm also from Chino High School.
Hello, I'm Devin Reyes, and I'm from Ruben SIL High School.
Could I ask you, were you encouraged to come tonight, so you had a little bit of background information? Was this your idea? Step right up.
So I'll personally speak on my behalf. I am someone who was elected to be the delegate for the American Legion California Boys State, and I'm also a young senator this year, so I'm very involved in our community, specifically in politics, and I thought the School of Education, the Board of Education, would be a good opportunity for me to expand my horizons.
All right.
Okay, well, I'm not as cool as Anthony, but I'm a part of ASB at Chino High School, and I've heard about Student Government Day in the past, and I came across being superintendent of the day, and that's who I would be on February 15th. So I just thought it'd be cool to be superintendent for a day.
And you're plenty cool.
Like I said, I'm Devin. I go to Ruben SIL High School. I'm a senior along with Amy, and we've both been in the USB leadership classroom there at Ruben SIL High School. And we've been going through a lot of leadership training. We like to be leaders and kind of in the forefront of moving forward. And also, I also have a kind of passion for politics, so I figured this would be a good way to broaden my horizons.
So like Devin said, we're both in the USB program at my high school. In addition to being involved in United Student Body, I'm also a class officer, and I am a member on the LA County Junior Fair Board. So for me, we were recommended to this program by our leadership advisor, but in addition to that, we also saw it as a very good opportunity to get to be involved in our community specifically, and to kind of explore through our positions, different facets of the educational system, and how we can work to improve them.
Thank you all so much for coming tonight and for sharing with us. We appreciate it greatly. We are now at comments from employee representatives. Mrs. Farley is not here? Okay.
Hi, Michael Rodriguez. I'm the assistant principal at Walnut Avenue Elementary, and just wanted to share some good things that our administrators are doing. First of all, at our own school site, we just wanted to thank, we just celebrated the opening of an all accessible playground for our moderate severe students and really all our students on our campus, whether it's orthopedic impairment or physical disabilities. And so that was a great leadership through our special education director, Anna Inglesrud, and our maintenance director, Martin Silveria, and of course our site administrator. You know, it took a couple months, but the playground's open now and it's great. And so if you ever want to come and see some kids enjoying and laughing, it's a great opportunity. And then another thing, just to recognize all the administrators that are volunteering their time through a district program called Future and Aspiring Administrator Program. So this program allows teachers in the district to be mentored by an administrator, and I think it's a great opportunity for the teachers to be mentored and kind of learn, and for the district to kind of grow their own leadership. And so I know we had a visitor, we had Ms. Hahn from Butterfield today, and it was a great experience for her. And so just want to thank all those administrators that are volunteering their time and mentoring those teachers.
All right,
Thank you.
Mr. Hernandez from CSEA, no comments. Mr. Ball from ACT.
Good evening. I'm also not as cool as Anthony. But last week, I participated along with administrators and some of our instructional coaches in the classroom learning rounds. And these are classroom walkthroughs that primarily focus on what and how our students are learning. And in every school, we saw students hard at work, on task, collaborating, and being led and coached and encouraged and taught by passionate, highly qualified teachers. It was inspiring. But I think the real value is yet to come, and that's when our teachers themselves get to participate and see other classrooms in action, and I know that's already in the works at some sites. And on Saturday, I attended the Chet Day, Chino Ed Tech Day, hosted by our own technology training department, and it was fabulous. Yes, Mrs. Fikes?
Yes, it was.
Fabulous. As a training event, they thought of everything. Breakfast burritos, vendor displays, an incredible keynote speaker, raffles, more breakfast burritos. I had 2. It was remarkable. Best of all, though, was the breakout sessions led by our own teachers, sharing some aspect of technology that can be used immediately to enhance our own teaching and our students' learning. And hundreds of our own teachers came out on a Saturday morning to take advantage of that expertise. And I really can't say enough about how excellent the training was. As teachers, we're all in different places when it comes to using technology in the classroom, but really there was something for everybody at Chet Day. So to everybody who was involved, awesome job and thank you. And lastly, I know we're coming up to a time of year when some difficult decisions need to be made in regards to staffing. And I just want to say tonight how much I appreciate our HR department. It is a tough job, but it's always done with compassion and professionalism, and they probably don't hear that enough, especially from me. So Mrs. Fellows and Dr. Hernandez and Mr. Rideout, we're fortunate to have you. Thank you.
Next, we have community liaisons. No one from Chino Hills? Oh, yes, from Chino Hills?
No.
Oh, okay, so Susan Dang, come on up.
Good evening, President Fikes, Ms. Fikes, Superintendent, staff members, audience members. Technically, this is my first meeting this year, so I wanted to wish every one of you a happy and healthy new year. And I do have one announcement to make. We have Coffee with Kurt coming up at this Saturday, February 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. It will be at Chino Hills Community Center in the Willow Room. And our co-host and co-speaker for this event will be Chino Hills Mayor Peter Rogers. So I encourage everyone to attend. I'm sorry you won't have any breakfast burritos. However, we will have plenty of coffee and pastries, and it will be a great opportunity for you to actually meet your county supervisor, ask questions. It's very informal, small gathering, so you get to actually have one-on-one with your supervisor with any questions, comments, or encouragements. So we invite every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see no other community liaisons in the audience. All right, then we are now at comments from the audience on items not on the agenda. Stephanie, are there any requests to speak on non-agenda items?
Yes, Madam President, we have 2 requests.
Speakers will be called in the order the request was received. Please listen for your name and be prepared to approach the podium. Any comments on agenda items will be accepted during consideration of that item. Once the board has commenced deliberations on an issue, speaker cards will not be accepted. The board's very interested in your comments, but please bear in mind that the board typically does not respond to comments during this time on the agenda, as it is reserved specifically for public comments. Individuals, members may respond during board comments at the end. Mrs. Blair, will you please explain the light system?
Speakers, you have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. Please begin your comments at the green light. The yellow light indicates you have 30 seconds in which to complete your comments. The red light indicates your time is over. And before you begin your comments, please adjust the microphone as necessary so that you can be clearly heard. And audience members, please refrain from making comments while speakers are at the podium.
Madam President, we now have 3 speakers. Speakers, please remember that in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, Bylaws of the Board, meeting conduct, limit remarks to 3 minutes total for all remarks, and please limit remarks to new points. The Board would like to remind you that Board Policy 1312.1 contains the procedure for anyone who wishes to file a complaint against a district employee. No speaker shall exceed the 3-minute limit, nor shall profanity be tolerated. The first speaker is Ryan Davis, followed by Veronica Nunez, followed by Michelle Fleischer.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ryan Davis. I've been working for this district for over 10 years. I teach a moderate to severe kindergarten to 3rd grade class. As you may know, last year, Ontario Montclair School District pulled out of our West End SELFA, and we have brought back a lot of our moderate severe students that we had previously, that were previously at Lincoln. I would like to take this time to kind of tell you how that's changed our classroom. On our campus at Walnut Elementary, we have a preschool program, my K-3 class, and a 4, 5, and 6 class. Well, actually, this year my class has gone to K-2, and it's a 3 to 6 class. I'd also like to take this time to thank the special ed department, Mrs. Inglesrud. They have been wonderful this year with support for us. We have a brand new curriculum. We've never had a curriculum for our mod severe population before, so this is wonderful. We have the new playground, as Mr. Rodriguez already mentioned, that is adaptable for all students with special needs. It is wheelchair accessible. Thank you very much. We also have an LVN on campus now, and we have a school nurse that is there every single day. That is also wonderful. And before I continue, I'd like to say thank you to Mrs. Morales, our principal, and Mr. Rodriguez. They have been very supportive. With that being said, the special ed department has not only given us the playground curriculum, they have given us technology, switches, we have smart boards. I'm able to use the switches wirelessly so that the children can interact with the smart board, and it's been great, and they have shown us that they're able to, their capability is so much more. With that being said, we have 25 students between the 3 classes. 6 in preschool, 9 in my class, and 10 in the 3 to 6 class. 2 of those children in the preschool are in wheelchairs, and 2 of them have private duty nurses. 6 of the students in my class have wheelchairs, and I have 3 private duty nurses. And there are 6 wheelchairs in the 3 to 6 class with 4 private duty nurses. And I got to hurry up. That means there's 15 wheelchairs, 10 private duty nurses, 9 students with G-tubes that can't swallow, 1 catheter, 1 student with a trach, 3 students that require oxygen, 8 students that have seizures, some on a daily basis, 4 students that are being mainstreamed part of the time, and 1 student that is being fully included or mainstreamed almost all day. What I would like for the board to consider is we'd like
Thank
you
you.
to... Sorry.
I know.
I think we're all going to ask.
They want you to continue.
That doesn't happen, but we need to hear.
What we would like is we would like to invite you guys to come and see our program, to see what we have, to see with what we're dealing with. We have 10 standers, 4 walkers, 8 adaptive chairs, and 3 potty chairs that we use constantly. We would like you to come see this so that we can help make this even better. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Veronica Nunez, followed by Michelle Fleischer.
Good evening, board members, cabinet, and superintendent. My name is Veronica Nunez, and I teach at Howard Cattle Elementary. And I would like to speak to you this evening about the lack of sufficient substitutes for our district mandated trainings and site trainings. We are directed to attend Wonders, which is ELA trainings, and math this year as well. And this is happening a few times per trimester. Some of us take a few hours to prepare for the absences, and some of my colleagues may take more time. We then go to the location for the training, and often we're called back because there aren't enough subs to take our class. We may also need to return to the classroom if we're on site for a refresher course or et cetera, just our site training. Then we may be asked to attend another session, which we have to start planning all over again, and then we may have to be called back again because there is no sub. This may not happen at all sites, I'm not sure. I just know it's a concern at my site, and I wanted to bring that to your attention. A few years ago, we were led to believe that the district had more than enough substitutes, and new people were not being hired. We are told that it's hard to acquire substitutes on Mondays and Fridays, but the teachers have no control over the calendar as far as trainings go. And therefore, to me, that's not even a point. Do we pay less than surrounding districts? I'm not sure, because perhaps that's the reason that we lose substitutes to other districts, and there's not enough to cover our absences, but it's not an absence, it's a district mandated training. So I would like you to please consider having trainings in the summer, as this does not require us to prepare for a substitute, nor to spend 2 or more hours for planning, and that way we can attend, and that's part of my solution for this issue that I'm having with substitutes. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Michelle Fleischer.
Hello, my name is Michelle Fleischer. I've been a special education teacher in the school district for 10 years in a variety of settings. I'd like to talk to you, board members, staff members, etc., today about the fact that SDC at the elementary school currently is a program that has 3 grade levels in each of the classes. And I'd like to suggest that there be 2 grade levels in the classes versus 3. Having 3 grade levels in a class means that you often have that student for 3 years. And if it's not a good fit for the student or the teacher, you still have that student for 3 years. It's not the best for the student, it's not necessarily the best for the teacher either. And with the amount of curriculum we are trying to get through, especially with the New Wonders program and all of the math standards and the science standards that are coming up, there's just not enough time in the day to get through 3 grade levels worth of each of those and do it well. I want to do the best I can for my students. I know a lot of SDC teachers feel that way, and trying to teach 3 grade levels of students who are well behind their peer groups is hard enough, and there's just not really enough time to get it all done and done well. I'd like to suggest that you really look into doing 2 grade levels at a time, if at all possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now at changes and deletions. Stephanie, are there any changes or deletions?
No, there are none.
We are now at action items. Please announce the first item.
Item 2A1, public hearing and ratification of the tentative agreement between the Chino Valley Unified School District and the Associated Chino Teachers effective the 2016-2017 school year through June 30th, 2019.
We recommend that the Board of Education conduct a public hearing, and B, ratify the tentative agreement between the Chino Valley Unified School District and the Associated Chino Teachers effective the 2016-2017 school year through June 30th, 2019. I now open the public hearing at 7:32 p.m. Do we have any speakers?
There are no speakers.
I now close the public hearing at 7:32 p.m. For item B, may I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
A second?
Well, I-
Moved by Mr. Na, seconded by Mrs. Blair. Are there any comments, questions, or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Next item.
Item 2A2, public hearing and ratification of the tentative agreement between the Chino Valley Unified School District and the California School Employees Association and its Chino Chapter 102, effective the 2017-18 school year.
Recommend the Board of Education, A, conduct a public hearing, and B, ratify the tentative agreement between the Chino Valley Unified School District and the California School Employees Association and its Chino Chapter 102, effective the 2017-2018 school year. I now open the public hearing at 7:33 p.m. Do we have any speakers?
There are no speakers.
I now close the hearing at 7:33 p.m. For item B, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Blair, seconded by Mr. Na. Are there any comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Next item.
Item 2A3, approval of salary increases for management and classified confidential employees.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the salary increases for management and classified confidential employees as follows. A, provide a 2% off-schedule one-time payment for the 2017-2018 school year based on individual annual base salary as of December 11th, 2017. B, provide a 2% on-schedule salary increase for the 2017-2018 school year effective July 1, 2017. And C, provide a 2% on-schedule salary increase for the 2018-2019 school year effective July 1, 2018. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
May I have a motion for items A, B, and C?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Na, seconded by Mrs. Orozco. Are there any comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Next item.
Item 2A4, addendum to the employment contracts for the superintendent, deputy superintendent, and the assistant superintendent of business services, curriculum instruction, innovation, and support, facilities planning and operations, and human resources divisions.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the addendum to the employment contracts for the superintendent, deputy superintendent, and assistant superintendents of business services, curriculum instruction, innovation, and support, facilities planning and operations, and human resources divisions as follows. A, provide a 2% off-schedule one-time payment for the 2017-2018 school year based on individual annual base salary as of December 11th, 2017. B, provide a 2% on-schedule salary increase for the 2017-2018 school year effective July 1, 2017. And C, provide a 2% on-schedule salary increase for the 2018-2019 school year effective July 1, 2018. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
May I have a motion for items A, B, and C?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Knott for the motion and Mr. Cruz for the second. Are there any comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Next item.
Item 2A5, compensation increase for the Board of Education.
Recommend the Board of Education approve a 2% compensation increase for the 2017-2018 school year effective February 2nd, 2018, and B, a 2% compensation increase for the 2018-2019 school year effective July 1, 2018. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
May I have a motion for items A and B?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. For the motion, Mrs. Blair, and the second, Mrs. Orozco. Are there any comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Preferential vote? The motion passes with a vote of 4-1, and that concludes the action items. We are now at consent. Stephanie, are there any speakers on the consent items?
No, Madam President.
Board members, do you have any polls? Mrs. Orozco?
None.
Mr. Cruz?
None.
Mrs. Hernandez Blair?
Yes. 3C4, page 67.
Mr. Na?
I have no polls.
And I have no polls. For the remainder of the consent items, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Mrs. Blair, item 3C4, page 67.
So moved.
Second.
It's a proclamation for National School Counseling Week. National School Counseling Week, sponsored by the American School Counselor Association, will be celebrated from February 5th through the 9th, 2018, to focus public attention on the unique contribution professional school counselors provide within the U.S. school systems. Our proclamation reads, whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential. Whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents, as these traits relate to career awareness and development. Whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children. Whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. Whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Chino Valley Unified School District does hereby proclaim February 5th through the 9th, 2018 as National School Counseling Week.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion, preferential? Aye. The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. We are now at information items. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, we are now at the board member and superintendent communications. Mrs. Orozco.
Okay, I will be very brief. Okay, retirements. We've got a lot of people with a lot of years retiring. Well, not a lot, but Karen Byer, 30 years of service, a Borba elementary teacher. Terry Wharton, 37 years of service, Country Springs teacher. Kimberly Berg, 40 years of service, intervention teacher at Liberty. Brenda Fox, 21 years of service, typist clerk at Butterfield Ranch. David Meyer, 26 years of service, custodian, Townsend Junior High. Stephen Bibler, 17 years of service, technician in technology. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for your many years of service to our district. We truly appreciate you. The only last thing that I'd like to say is the entire board actually attended the alternative ed graduation last night, and small, but as always, very personal and heartwarming. And so great job again. And that'll conclude my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, Ms. Orozco. And also with the alternative education, you feel that relationship, that bonding. I think that's the key to the alternative program.
Right.
Is that togetherness that they have. Steve, you've been doing an excellent job, sir. So it's almost like you lifted a load, and it feels lighter. So I have to admit, good job. Dr. Enfield, maybe we should look at what the woman was stating about 3 preps occurring in one classroom, and also maybe even a comparative study of the substitute pay, see if there is a variation within the substitute pay. And there's a 5K run for us. I know Miss Blair, she does it. I see her running heavy.
I don't run, but I'm there.
But it is good. It benefits the police department, which is excellent. The Golden Bell Award. Engineer advisor Brian Ingstrom, coordinator and teacher, and Dr. Cabrera has created a really great engineering program that allows students to experience a rigorous hands-on problem-based curriculum in engineering. And it's such a great program. And somebody did mention it, I don't know who, but somebody recommended that perhaps they might call the building Ingstrom Hall. I heard that. I don't know where I heard that from. Was that you?
No.
But I thought that was a good idea. And I have to admit, the board, the movement of the board, it almost feels like a plant. A plant's growing and fruits are growing. It feels different. I have to admit, it feels very different. And it's a good feeling, and it's a very well-adjusted feeling. And, as for me, I just do what I do because that's where my heart takes me. So if I do something, if I say something that offends you, I don't mean to do that. It just is an opportunity that I have. So, but I have to admit, you guys are very good board members. So, but I have to say one thing, and that is, I had a student TA, and my student TA, he watched the State of the Union, and he asked me my opinion. So I asked him about how he felt, and so he said that he felt that the address was very democratic, and I said, "You're right. You're exactly right. He is a Democrat." I said to him, I know he's perfectly well, and so I said a number of things to him. I said, things are coming back, families coming back, jobs are coming back, industry's coming back, the military's coming back, veterans. the police, the national anthem. Overall, I told them, son, nothing to be scared of. That hope is coming back. So I was pretty, surprised that he would ask me about how I felt. And also, maybe a moment of silence of the student that passed away at Ayala, Ms. Fikes. Thank you.
Okay. Next, Mrs. Blair.
As Mrs. Orozco and Mr. Cruz mentioned, and I'm sure Mr. Na probably will too, we all attended the alternative education graduation yesterday. I just wanted to read the names of the 8 graduates. Andy Becerril, Annika Burlingame, Miranda Casas, Thalia Castellanos, Raul Garcia, Ian Najera, Jose Ramirez, and Adam Salas. And it's just wonderful to witness, and we should be proud that we offer a program, not traditional high school, where students can still succeed, earn their diploma, and be proud of their achievement. So small class, but with a lot of meaning. So I just wanted to congratulate all 8 of our graduates from last night. And that's it. Thank you.
And Mr. Na?
Yes, it is weird. Jonah could be my son. I would always see him when I walk around the campus in Chino Hills. This time in front of our wonderful teacher. His name was Mr. Browning. And all kids would praise him and how much they would learn from this one individual. And we had a joke that he could be a campus leader at any time, site leader at any time. So we have a really tremendous amount of talent among our teachers. So I'm really excited that our students are experiencing them forefront. I'd like to thank Eagle Canyon, and they're piloting new PE program where all kids could enjoy different sports at the same time. But more than that, in the end, students will get praised for good behavior. They'll pick out 2-3 students and they'll be praised. I think we're doing a PE education, but at the same time, building a good character in them. So I think it's a great program. I'd like to thank all the teachers involved and our district staffs. Thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Grace Park for supporting our special ed program at Chino Hills High School. They're getting their technology support that no one else has in other districts. But we are providing that special service. So thank you, Dr. Park. And alternate education graduation, yes. Wow, the speaker, valedictorian, out of 8 students. But she spoke like the top speech maker in the nation. She said, people used to call me a dumb blonde. And when I was little, I believed in that. But then one day, she was told, dumb blonde could go so far. Being a model could go so far. You need to have an education. So she had pursued that avenue. And our district had provided that service. And our special teachers supported her and other 7 students to push and not give up. So we're so happy. So thank you for, again, all the teachers. Ayala High student, 17 years old, hit by a drunk driver who happens to be only 23 years old, being drunk at 7:20 in early night. So this is a lesson that we're learning. Life is real, so is the death. And our job is to do our best to protect our youth, because they are our future. She could have been our greatest mother. She could have been our greatest grandma, but she lost that opportunity here. one person told me that we're here in a playground. Some people has many toys, and some has few. But in the nighttime, when we're going home, we leave all of our toys behind. Another person told me, the real homeless that you see are not those on the streets, but don't have a place to go after this life. And this all happened at the funeral service, where people had to think and know how precious our lives are. So our students, make sure you don't drink and drive. Make sure you don't follow what the weird adults do, because the tragedy do happen. So I think we were hurt so much, but we must learn something from her passing. I'd like to ask Mr. Joseph, because this conversation had happened with me, with many teachers, why we do not have a pizza program in our school district. And it could be a burden for many young teachers coming in. So I'd like to see the restoration of a pizza program for our teachers. Because down the road, we'll be competing with other school districts where they do provide such a service. And any way that we can to support and grow our youth and young teachers, this is time to do it. And also, they have talked to me about professional development training. It could happen twice a year. But we have so much talents here. Why don't we do it in-house and save that money and use it for our school programs, student programs, and also maybe give out Christmas bonus for all our teachers and staffs. I think that would be a best use. We said the business stay in Chino Hills. You see the signs, or Chino, but our funds too. I don't believe that we should spend lots of money going outside, and that happens only twice a year, where we are able to do it, I believe. And I'm sure many teachers would participate of designing that program as well. We have many teachers who has been teaching for how many years? 10, 20, 30 years, or 40. So I'd like to see that study coming from Mr. Joseph. Thank you.
Mr. Joseph.
I'm retiring and you're giving away more money.
That's what I thought.
Registration is underway for the 8th annual Hit the Greens for Scholarships golf tournament to be held Friday, March 9th at Villano Country Club in Chino Hills. The event raises funds for scholarships that benefit graduating seniors. To date, more than $221,000 has been awarded to 192 seniors. For registration information, visit the district's website. More than 80 Chino Valley Unified School District high school seniors will participate in the 38th Annual Student Government Day on February 15th. The students will learn about local government by shadowing school district and City of Chino and City of Chino Hills officials and holding mock school board and city council meetings. Some students will also serve as principals for a day at our local schools. The morning was capped off by a luncheon at Chino Hills High for the students and their mentors. And finally, I'd like to thank Stephanie Gibson for filling in for Pat Kaler tonight. You did an excellent, seamless job, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I have a few things. On January 24th, I was at Ayala's girls' basketball game. Wasn't very well attended, but it was a very exciting game. We did lose a squeaker to Glendora, but it was an exciting game. I encourage you to come out and watch our women's sports teams. They do a terrific job. Last week at Dr. Park's invitation, I was able to attend the LCAP student meeting at Don Lugo. Dr. Park has been crisscrossing our district, meeting with students at every school. She does a Herculean job there. She had help from, of course, I'm completely blanking on your last name, Luke, sorry. Hackney, thank you. And Grace Lee and Reagan, your secretary, and they led small student groups so the kids felt included and that they could tell them what their concerns were. It was very inspiring, and I know when we see the LCAP, I remember initially we had low student participation. This is really authentic student participation, and so I thank you for that and everybody who has supported you in that endeavor. I also last week was able to attend the high school social studies teachers workshop, Right Path workshop, which is an AVID sponsored workshop, teacher strategies to help make social studies come alive. I did hear somebody say that social studies has been rated as even more boring than math, and a couple of social studies teachers said in the back, that was a bunch of math students who said that. But the whole idea was to come up with more strategies to be able to meet all the goals of Common Core for our students. It was a great 2-day training, and I did go both days. So I'm thrilled that we're using that approach with our staff. And I also attended a glutton for punishment, a glutton for teacher training. I attended the Chet workshop Saturday morning. I really wanted to thank our tech department for a well-organized, seamless presentation. They just did a terrific job. And all the teacher volunteers who produced the individual sessions, we owe them a debt of gratitude, but also all the teachers who attended on their own time, no payment, but just because they want to better themselves. It's one of the things I love about teachers, love about being in this profession, is a whole lot of people who really want what's best for the kids who are assigned to them. It was a very inspiring day, and all the technology worked, which is fabulous. We talked about the Golden Bell program in the county. I did want to include that our own Mrs. Orozco was recognized as being the president of the county organization, and she also did a fabulous job. So I was proud of you, and of course, proud of our program at Don Lugo, represented by the principal and Brian Ingstrom, the teacher. This week, it was only yesterday, I was at a meeting with Mr. Joseph and the key communicators in our district, police, sheriff, city management in both Chino and Chino Hills. It was a great look at a cooperative venture among community leaders as well as school leaders. I think there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I know Mr. Joseph has been instrumental in getting that to be a vital force in our school district, and I was proud to be able to witness that meeting. And that is it. I'd like to take a moment of silence to recognize Marinel Enriquez Ladores, our student at Ayala High School. Thank you. And now I adjourn the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 7:59.